Hi, my name is Tracy Mitzner, and I'm going to be presenting on behalf of my colleagues about an inclusive design approach in translating an in-person, evidence-based Tai Chi intervention to an online platform for adults aging with long-term mobility disability. I have no commercial relationships to disclose. I'd like to start with the importance of the problem. Less than 1/3 of older adults with a mobility disability engage in recommended physical activity levels. And this is important because lack of physical activity is associated with hypertension, diabetes, anxiety, depression, and also risk of dementia and mortality. People who are aging with mobility disabilities are also at risk for social isolation. However, there are significant barriers for this population to participating in an exercise class where they might get exposure to physical activity instruction and social engagement. These barriers include lack of accessibility and transportation, also fear of negative stereotypes. One solution to this problem is remote exercise instruction. Remote exercise instruction has lots of different embodiments. So this could be DVDs, YouTube, live streaming, or apps. And this can be an effective alternative because people can engage in exercise at home, therefore overcoming some of the barriers. This is a quickly growing industry. There are over 300,000 health and fitness apps that are available on major app stores. There are over 800 million fitness app users, but usually these types of apps and live streaming services are not designed for people with mobility disabilities. They also, many of them, lack the social engagement that an in-person group exercise class would offer. And one thing that COVID-19 has really amplified is the social engagement barriers for people with disabilities. So we've developed a tele-Tai Chi study where we're translating an in-person evidence-based group Tai Chi class to a remote group experience for adults aging with pre-existing long-term mobility disabilities. The population we're focusing on are people between the ages of 60 and 80 who self-identify as having a mobility disability for at least 10 years. So this is really the intersection of age-related changes and mobility disability. And one of the goals of the study is to demonstrate the acceptability and efficacy, specifically for social interaction and physical exercise of the tele-Tai Chi study. In terms of the intervention component adaptations, first, we're using the Tai Chi for Arthritis program. It was developed for older adults with a range of disabilities and chronic conditions. It's an evidence-based program, and the benefits include fall prevention, joint pain, balance, and flexibility. It's a 1 hour twice a week for 8-week class, and it was developed by Dr. Paul Lamb as a part of Tai Chi for Health Institute. We're also using Zoom as a part of this intervention. So Zoom is being used to deliver the program. It's a video conferencing platform, as most people are quite familiar with these days. And some of our earlier findings suggest that this population has very positive attitudes, not just about using video conferencing, but specifically using video conferencing to attend exercise classes. We're using an inclusive design approach. And to do that, we developed an adaptation committee where we are ensuring that we have the relevant expertise for translating and adapting the Tai Chi intervention without impacting the fidelity. And the committee is involved in all phases of the study. And the committee includes the Tai Chi for Health Institute, also Doctors Laura Rice and Janae Beer, and we're engaging in a structured adaptation process, really documenting all the changes as we go, and not only what the change is, but why we made the change. And also on our adaptation committee are representatives from our target population, so our TechSAge participants. We have really focused on safety for this translation to ensure that it is as safe as possible. We are using a seated intervention. We've also customized a welcome video, and this really focuses on guidance on safety considerations, modifications, and visualization techniques. And we worked alongside the Tai Chi for Health Institute, in particular, Jocelyn Simpson, who's a master trainer, to help us with the welcome video. We also are requiring participants pass a physical activity readiness scale, or they can, if they do not pass it, they can provide a letter from their physician ensuring that the exercises are safe for them. And lastly, all of our research staff became Tai Chi certified in this program. Also from our adaptation committee, we received input on the technology setup and support. So we have now developed manuals for joining Zoom classes, for dealing with troubleshooting. So we have a Zoom fax. And also we have developed an environmental checklist that helps to ensure that everyone has the best setup for engaging in the classes. And this includes sufficient lighting, reducing background noise, having a safe place to sit, having a flat surface for their computer, and just enough space to move around, but also having an area that's free of trip hazards. We, in particular, we received feedback from our TechSAge participants, our representatives from the target population, with regard to the experience of our participants in the program. And some of the feedback they provided included social time issues. So they really felt that having social time was a motivator to participate. They did feel like there would be a need for an etiquette guide to help everyone understand what the ground rules were for discussion, and also just providing an option to pass if people weren't comfortable engaging in the social part of the class. They suggest that we encourage the use of one-on-one chats for interaction. So we're going to be teaching participants how to do that. And they gave us some ideas for topics that we could use for our social time. They also provided input on the technology support. So based on some of their suggestions, we've created a step-by-step manual and orientation that will be helpful, especially for people who have less computer experience and less or no experience with Zoom. And we are also providing hard copies of the manual, and they'll be able to call our support staff for help as well. In terms of safety, they liked the welcome video, but they thought it was important to continually focus or remind participants about the variability in everyone's ability, and also just remind people to stay in their comfort zone and to visualize instead of physically move if something is uncomfortable or too challenging. But in general, the TechSAge participants, our representatives of the target population, we're really excited about this opportunity, and they thought that other people in their population would also be excited to meet peers and exercise at the same time. And they noted just the timeliness of this project with COVID. As I said, we are engaging in a structured adaptation process. We really want to ensure that our adaptations do not impact the fidelity of the program. So we need to document what the changes we made, why we made them, and we're evaluating each adaptation based on the CDC framework for adapting evidence-based programs, where we evaluate whether each change is safe, so green, go ahead, versus red, that, something that we need to avoid because it could impact the fidelity. So I just want to leave with some takeaways. Teletechnologies such as video conferencing have great potential to facilitate health and wellness programs for people with mobility disabilities. Especially our research showing the acceptability of this suggests that we are addressing an important and unmet need. And I just want to highlight the importance of engaging in the structured adaptation process, and also including the target users and partners in translating an in-person intervention to teletechnology. We've really learned a lot from them, and as I said, we have engaged them in the study development, but also the pilot testing, and throughout the intervention, any issues that come up, we will engage the target users and partners, these people in our adaptation committee, to get feedback. Some of the adaptations I talked about today are the study design, the protocol. So we have added an orientation process, and also we've added a structured a structured social time. And also we've developed technical support documents and training processes, and as well as safety protocols. And of course, we've documented all of these adaptations. So I just want to say thank you for listening, and please contact me if you have any questions. Thank you.